Okay, I love astrology. I love trying to understand and know and feel and experience what is happening in a great big picture. My great difficulty is that it's almost like having a great bowl of swirling stuff, fluid stuff, and out of that great bowl of stuff, I've got to find one drop to find and pull it out and create a thread that makes it stick together and go in a straight line or a coherent whole. That's incredibly difficult because there is so much. So I've used the flip chart to try and anchor me a bit. It's as much for my benefit as for yours. 2012. Okay, everybody talks about it, everybody gets excited, and I didn't. I so didn't. It pissed me off, to be perfectly truthful. I felt there was a lot of talk about it and very little understanding or wisdom that came with it. Until I looked at, it was Cheryl actually who kicked me off. She said, "What's the meaning of the Venus transit?" So I started to look, and the more I looked, the more I couldn't believe what was happening. Now, I expect you've heard of the Venus transit. It's an event that is pretty rare. It occurs roughly every 101 to 125 years, so it's relatively rare. And when it occurs in a pair of events which are 8 years apart. The first of the current pair was June the 8th, 2004, and the second one of the current pair is between the 5th, 6th of June this year, so absolutely imminent. And this event we set up to be as near to the Venus transit, or the Venus passage it's called, as possible. And this became momentous, but this one particular Venus event, more than any other, and we'll have a look at the whys and wherefores. This month of June, this month of Gemini, is stupendous, absolutely stupendous. And that's a quote, by the way. I've forgotten who said it. I got it from Nick Fiorenza, but I don't know who started it. And I think it's lovely. Okay, here we kick off. The third week in May, an eclipse of the sun, 0 degrees Gemini. Now, any eclipse is like a turning point. It's an interplay of shadow and dark. Something comes to light that wasn't known before. It can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing, and it depends on our judgments and our experience. And eclipses happen twice a year, and they come in pairs, yet again. A new moon followed by a full moon, about 2 weeks apart between them. Sometimes it's first full moon, then it's new moon, and sometimes the other way around, doesn't matter. But they come as a pair. And this is a new moon in Gemini. So this marks a new beginning, a new moon, right at the very beginning of a sign. So this is already beginning to bring Gemini into prominence. We're really going to have to look at Gemini and what it's about. The second of these, a couple of weeks later, is the full moon in Gemini, another eclipse, a lunar eclipse. Now, throughout the last couple of thousand years or so, the Gemini full moon has been referred to as the Christ moon. The Taurus full moon, or the sun's in Taurus and moon's in Scorpio, is the Buddha moon, and the Gemini one is the Christ moon. But there again, that's relatively meaningless. It sounds nice, and it's obviously a good thing, but we don't quite know what it's about. Then, a couple of days later, this one, by the way, you never guess when it is. It's at 11 minutes past 11 in the morning if you measure on British Greenwich Mean Time, which is how astrology is measured. So 11 minutes past 12 British Summer Time. Now, I don't know the significance of numbers, but everybody seems to get very excited about 11s. So perhaps in the course of the weekend, somebody can tell me about the 11s.
Sorry, can I just say 11 stands for illumination in numerology.
I like it. Indeed. So we have an illuminating full moon on the number of illumination in the sign of great understanding, and an axis that involves that. Anyway, then we come to the Venus transit, this rare event. Then on the 12th, we've got Jupiter going into Gemini for a year. Jupiter stays in the sign for about a year. on the 19th, another new moon in Germany. You know how we talk of a blue moon, which is 2 full moons in the course of a month? This is like a blue new moon, 2 new moons, so 2 new beginnings. Something is clearly signalling turning point to new beginning, turning point, new beginning. And it all connects with Germany. Summer solstice, I've just slipped in there because we like it. And this one doesn't actually involve Germany, but this is another very, very rare event. And I want to talk about this later on. And eventually, at the end of June, we've got more Gemini Pisces happening with a Jupiter-Neptune square. So everything is piling in to Gemini. And it's as if these 2 eclipses, they're like the, what do you call it, the trumpet call, the fanfare, announcing this Venus transit. And this Venus transit, to me, is incredibly significant. And that's why we're having today, really, and tomorrow. Okay. The Venus transit is like an eclipse. You've got the Sun, you've got Venus, and you've got the Earth. And they're all in absolute perfect alignment. Now, that sort of alignment occurs pretty often, but it's not a transit, a Venus transit. What makes a Venus transit so special is not that these things orbiting round are actually lined up. It's that they are lined up, but absolutely exact to the minute on a plane like that. That's what makes it special. They're not only aligned sort of going round, but they're aligned up and down as well. It's a perfect alignment. Venus crosses the face of the Sun, and it looks like a little tiny black disc, because Venus is to do with distance and size and all sorts of things. It looks much smaller than the Sun. It's much smaller than the Sun. So it's a tiny little thing. And immediately opposite that is the Earth. So we've got this on this Gemini-Sag axis. And in astrology, an axis is always important. You don't get one sign alone, you get the both. The both. There's an interface. Energy flows one to the other, to the other, to the other. When the Sun is in Gemini, the Earth is in Sag. Okay? That's the alignment. Now the amazing, the extraordinary thing is that since 1660 AD, these periodic Venus transits, these pairs of events every 100 odd years, have always been on that axis, within about 10 degrees. Since 60 AD, nearly 2,000 years worth of the cosmos saying Gemini Sag, Gemini Sag, Gemini Sag. Not only just Gemini Sag, but almost the same bit of Gemini Sag. To me, that's amazing. This doesn't happen, not by chance. It's extraordinary. So it's real emphasis. This has to be important. So we're talking Venus. And these are all the qualities that we associate with Venus. It's love, it's beauty, it's attraction, it's harmony, it's balance. It's all these gorgeously, gorgeously feelings. It's the dearest of the dear in your heart. And it is truly, ideally, the dearest of the dear in your heart that is alluring. It's what you're attracted to, what you attract, what you want to link with. Yeah? You wouldn't want to link up and join up with and unify with something that felt absolutely ugh, would you? I wouldn't. I would love to link with, I seek experiences which make me feel lovely. Lovely experiences. Doesn't mean they haven't got to be exciting, but they can be lovely. So accord, unity, peace, all of these things. Now, the symbol for Venus, as we all know, the feminine symbol, is the circle of spirit above the cross of matter. Circle of spirit, our spirit, the part of us that is immense, is ineffable, is incredibly gorgeous. The part of us which we can only sense and feel. We cannot describe, we cannot rationalise, best as we can. We never get anywhere near it if we try and put it into words, if we try to put it into joined up writing or any of these things. It's not analysable, but by golly, it's feelable. Yeah? So, this is what Venus is about. Venus is about the circle of spirit being above, overriding, overarching, dominating, but not in a nasty sense. the cross of matter, the greater self, the greater us that we are, the glory that we are, being stronger and overshadowing the lesser self, the ordinary self, the little human that we all know, that stubs our toe, puts people's backs up, gets in a muddle, and all the rest of it. Doesn't mean they're separate, but the emphasis shifts. For the rational mind is part of this. The intuitive mind, the feelingful mind, the entire body of consciousness, the mind with which we fly on the wings of our soul, the mind in us which soars, is combined with feeling, it's combined with love, it's combined with all those lovely things, and it is above. In Venus is said to be a sacred planet. The Earth at the moment is said to be in transition. It has not been a sacred planet until now. And I'm talking esoteric. Venus is the jewel in the sky, but more than that. Venus is said to represent the higher self of the Earth itself. So all these qualities, all these beautiful qualities that we all desire, that we all melt into, that we feel, that we know in the depths of our hearts, all of those things are of our higher self and of the higher self of the Earth. They are higher qualities than those which relate to our ordinary little beings, our ordinary little minds. This is a beauty all of its own, and Venus is the jewel in the sky. Okay? And Venus draws together. The Venus transit is incredibly important because what's happening is the energy, we sit in an absolute maelstrom of energy on our planet. We are mostly sensitive to it. Some people get very excited about the moon and full moon and planting by the moon and all the rest of it. And that's really lovely, but that is so tiny compared with what the greater picture is. We sit in a great cosmos, we sit in a solar system, we sit in all sorts of things, and these energies constantly are interchanging, blending and inputting and impacting, and our sensitivity to them is beginning to develop. So, we have the constellation Gemini. When the sun is in Gemini, as it is in June, energy comes through from Gemini to the sun. The sun in our solar system, in astrology, in us, represents the spirit. It's the purpose, the love in us, the spirit in us, all sorts of things. The spirit drives through to Venus. It carries the energy of Gemini, it comes in through the sun, and it gives to Venus as Venus passes exactly across the face of the sun. Gemini transmits to the sun, that transmits to Venus. Venus then, in exact line, transmits to the earth. So you have spirit through the soul that is perfected, which is Venus, to the earth. It's an incredible alignment, an attractive alignment. Looking at it the other way, you say that the earth, and by earth I mean us too, as part of the earth, part of matter, are being drawn forth by Venus towards the sun. It's a two-way thing. We're being drawn into our spirit in June, this time of year. Every year, but most particularly now, Venus transit now. It's incredibly important. And here